Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
The Defense Logistics Agency may have solved two problems every agency tends to struggle with: attracting new and innovative companies and changing the culture of its workforce to work with those companies. DLA's Tech Accelerator team has shown over the last several years that it can use private sector methods to take an agile approach to solving problems using interviews, data, and market research. For more on the Tech Accelerator team, Federal News Network's executive editor Jason Miller talked with David Koch, the Director of Research and Development at the Defense Logistics Agency.
We started the technology acceleration team about 6 years ago, and the whole idea was there's a lot of areas where there are commercial solutions that are available now. So they go out, they interview senior leaders. If there's a problem that needs to be solved, that we know that there's a quick commercial solution, and usually with non-traditional vendors, folks that don't usually do business with the government, then that's when we use that team. They've also done a ton of innovation training. We work with a company called BMMT, and we really are striving to bring up the innovation knowledge within the organization. So there's a lot of people with good ideas. They don't know how to bring it to fruition. And so we've been doing a lot of training with that team as well.
The team, I'm sure, has morphed and changed over the last 6 years. Where you thought you started or you're not today, how has that change happened? Like, what are some of the areas that you say, okay, we are different today than we were?
When we first started out, it was more about let's interview senior leaders, let's find a problem that we need to go solve. And now it's really grown into a life of its own, to where the program managers kind of reach out and say, hey, I need a commercial solution for the problem that I have. And so I think a lot of times now it's more internally focused, where we reach out to commercial solutions based on a problem that we know exists. I think because just we become more aware of what's going on across the organization, we know where those problem areas are, where there's commercial opportunities.
I want to get back to the problem statement because you said something very interesting about that. But one of the things about the technology acceleration team that you mentioned was this idea of design thinking principles to foster innovation. Let's start with a brief definition of what that means, and then how are you using it?
So what that means is that we don't go into it with a solution in mind. We go into it solution agnostic. What is the problem that you want to solve? And then let's pull in a bunch of commercial folks that have tackled similar type problems, and we usually do that through an RFI that goes out to companies. We bring them in, and we see what kind of solutions they throw up. So we don't go into it with a preconceived idea of how to solve this problem.
Are you finding that you're starting to attract these, the DoD tends to call it non-traditionals, but some of these small emerging technology companies, or do you find that that's still a bigger hill to climb?
No, we attract a lot of them. And events like our Industry Collider Day really help facilitate that. I mean, over half the people that are here are small businesses just looking to get involved with the government. They've maybe never crossed that hurdle before, and they've heard through the grapevine, and the goal of the event is really teach them how to do work with us, and so I think that's been helpful. One
of the things you mentioned around the innovation training, around the technology acceleration team, is digital twin capabilities and bring them to warfighters. Can you talk a little bit about the R&D you're doing through that, maybe some of the projects?
Digital twin, and one of the companies was mentioned is a company by the name of RGBSI Aerospace. And what the whole idea is a digital twin could be a digital twin of a bunch of different things. A lot of times for us, it may start as a digital twin of a part, and so now that you have an electronic recreation and a model of what that part is, you also have something called the digital thread that you can pull with it. And that can pull in like acquisition data, logistics data, manufacturing data along with that thread, so that you can pull in more industry partners and more people are available to make that part. So yeah, we've done digital twins for parts. We've done them for processes. You can model a process. It used to be that you would go and use sticky notes and say, oh, this is how you do this. Now what we do is we use a computer program to go in and follow where the data flows, and it maps the process for you. Sometimes you're surprised when you find out how your process really works.
There seems to be a lot of excitement over digital twins. Are you seeing more requests coming in? Are you seeing more companies bringing you ideas using digital twins? What would you say? Are we still in the hype cycle? Are we past the hype cycle of digital twins? Are we still in the early phases?
I would say it's pretty mature. I mean, yes, we do have a lot of companies that want to come do that with us. We've really settled on a Celonis product for creating digital twins, especially digital twins of processes. Now, digital twins of parts is a little bit different, and there's no specific company that has the edge on that. But once you've created the twin, then we put it into our system, and it allows us to really work with industry.
I've seen, for instance, some reporting and some interviews around the Navy is big on digital twins. Are you seeing it across all of government, meaning a lot of your DoD and military services and defense agency partners are coming to you and looking to partner or looking to see what you've learned? Or is it really focused in one part of DoD for now, but you're seeing some growth?
So there's something called the Advanced Manufacturing Enterprise, and it's a subpanel of the Joint Defense Manufacturing Technology Panel, and they really dive into that kind of Industry 4 technology, 4.0 technology that you're talking about. So yes, definitely all the services are using digital twins. We're all kind of going the same direction. In fact, we have a roadmap working together because we communicate with them. If we all develop this independently, that's just expensive for the government. So we are all working together to try to do this smartly.
It is definitely one of those emerging / more mature technologies that's under the radar that folks maybe don't either understand or quite get how they could use it. And that actually is a great segue. You mentioned something earlier about design thinking, and one of the things you said was within the R&D office, you talk to senior leaders and commands and the J-codes and staff about, okay, what's your problem? Walk me through how that's been working to get them to shift their mindset from, hey, we need you to invest in X to, hey, we need you to solve problem Y.
If you start with, hey, I want to do a cool technology, sometimes you just miss the boat. And so we've really tried to work with our directors and senior leaders across the agency of what's the problem you want solved. Let us help you determine what the best technology is to get after that. And so when you start with problems, it really facilitates moving that direction.
Is that a big change for a lot of the folks within DLA to kind of think that way? Or once you kind of explained it and showed how it works, the culture shift happened fairly quickly?
I would say the culture shift has happened pretty well. I mean, our CIO really pushes us that direction because you can't just adopt a million new technologies. You've really got to go after what are the problems, here's some solutions, and you got to build off solutions that you're already working on. Otherwise, your IT gets way too expensive to maintain. So I would say it doesn't mean somebody doesn't come and say, hey, I want to do X because that sounds really cool. But for the most part, the leadership is really bought into let's solve problems and let's work at it from that direction.
One of those big problems was something called automating the inventory process. This has, I think, been a goal. I can go back to probably the 90s, early 2000s of using RFD guns and using all barcode technology. Where are you today with that project? Talk a little bit about that R&D effort.
There is a project called McPick that the Marine Corps implemented that really gets a kind of after automated inventory. We competed a bunch of products against each other. We're really happy with the backbone of their system, but it doesn't do everything that DLA needs it to do. So we're kind of merging that with a couple of other technologies to really give the whole spectrum. Because DLA, you think about it, with 25 different distribution centers, we have a lot of stuff that's outside. Think big strikers and tanks and stuff like that are just out there in the open. So you need something like a drone that's going to go around and capture that inventory. And then you have a lot of small things, think firearms and stuff like that we have to do inventory. So that's the backbone that we're building it upon. The idea is, you walk down the aisle and your inventory populates on your laptop or your iPad, and we think we can get there.
Where are you at with this effort? Is it still in the early stages? Are you looking at strategies like RFIs and potential OTAs and all those fun things, or are you more mature?
We're a little bit more mature. I mean, we've already kind of finished, the exploration. We've narrowed it down from a bunch of companies to just a few that we're putting together to create a comprehensive solution. And now we're really building it out at one of our distribution centers in Anniston because they have a lot of outdoor stuff. They also have small stuff and stuff in warehouses. So it's a good opportunity to check the various types of parts that are out there that we need inventory.
Is this considered the kind of the beta, the pilot, and then you'll see kind of how it goes and grow it from there?
It's definitely a pilot. I mean, we will grow it from there, but it's not too late to change directions if it doesn't work out.
David Koch is the Director of Research and Development at the Defense Logistics Agency, speaking there with Federal News Network's Executive Editor, Jason Miller. You can find Jason's full story at federalnewsnetwork.com.